Hey, everybody, welcome to the Spark. Hope you're doing fantastic on today and everything is moving in the right direction for you. I'm Coach David, and I'm super excited that you are here with me on today as we share some life-changing information that I believe will take you to another level and get you exactly where you need to be in order to have the very things that you want to have. So I'm super excited about that. And I want you to know just how much I appreciate you being here with me on today. Give me just a second, as I continue to talk to you about these things that I know are going to make an impact in your life. That's going to make a difference and it's going to do something for you. And I'm just trying to adjust something right here. So just give me a second. There we go. I got it adjusted. I was just adjusting something. But anyway, I'm glad you're here. Today, I got some great stuff for you. I'm going to talk to you about using your imagination and not your willpower. As a matter of fact, that's the, if you will, that's the title of this lesson. It's called Use Your Imagination, Not Your Willpower. So I want to do that because I understand this right here, that our imagination is so powerful. And if we use it correctly, we can go to new levels and new heights. And I want that for you. I want you to be able to go to a new height and a new level. And I believe that's what you want too. I'm also going to show you the dynamics of this as far as using your imagination. I may not get all the mechanics done, but I want to show you the dynamics. And then hopefully next week, if I don't have time this week, I can give you the mechanics of the imagination, if you understand what I mean by that. So I really just want to take you to another level. So I say use your imagination and not your willpower. And that's what we're going to do on today. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead and shout yourselves out. I'm happy you're here with me. Please tag somebody. Please notify somebody. Let them know that, hey, David's on with the spark and he's bringing the heat and the power to get us to another level. So now we talked about in previous times about how to function subjectively and objectively, our last lesson. And so we're going to kind of roll, still staying in that same vein, if you will, and you'll see what I'm talking about as I go through this. But I want you to begin to use your imagination. I remember when I was a young boy, and big thing for me was daydreaming. And sometimes I would sit in school and I'd look out the window and I would just begin to daydream. And the teacher would be like, David, stop all that daydreaming and get back to work. And I understand what she was getting at and everything, because that was what I was at school for, was to learn the lessons that she was providing me. But also, daydreaming is very, very important. So I don't want to discourage anyone, my kids or anyone, from daydreaming. You just got to be in the proper perspective and at the right time. But daydreaming is really important because daydreaming is a part of the imagination. So I say use your imagination and not your willpower. What is the imagination? Well, the imagination is the ability of your mind to be creative and resourceful. And so when you understand that now I can use my imagination and I can be resourceful, I can create. In other words, I can form new ideas, I can form images, I can form objects. And here's the key thing about this: they may not be present to my senses. Because when we start talking about dealing in the subjective and dealing in the objective, remember I told you last week, the objective mind deals with objects and everything. And a lot of times, what's before us is all we can see and all that we believe that there is. But there's so much more. And that's where the imagination comes in, and the subjective part of our mind when we use it that way. So you have your subjective mind, or you can have a subjective mindset, but you put that imagination to work, and oh my goodness, you can bring together parts, or you can combine things to create something wonderful. And that's what we really want to get at. We understand that we are the architects of our very own life. And if we are, which we are, and if we are the architects of our very own life, we can bring together the parts of pieces and we can become creative. With your imagination, You can use your mind to create subjectively, get you a plan, and bring your creation objectively. I'm going to say that again, real slowly. With your imagination, all right, take your imagination. You can use your mind to create subjectively. In other words, it's not open to the senses, but it's open to subjectivity. All right, then you can get you a plan, and you can bring your creation, that thing that you're imagining, you can bring it objectively. Now, I want to give you an imagination formula for success. And I think if you'll take these things that I'm going to give you and begin to use them on an ongoing basis, you're going to see some great and wonderful things happen. First of all, the thing that I want to share with you is that you have to believe that you even have an imagination and that you can use your imagination. Now, I want to try to help clarify that if you don't believe that. Look at the word imagination. The key word, or the first word there, is image. Okay? You can take your mind and you can get an image of what you want. And you've heard me say this before. If you can get a picture of it and hold it in your mind, it won't be very much longer before you'll be holding it in your hands, or it'll be in your life, is what I'm really saying. So, in order to do that, there is a formula for success when you use your imagination. Number one is belief. You have to believe that this is true. Listen, a lot of people will share with you, say, I don't believe this and it doesn't work. And they are 100% right. If you don't believe it, it won't work for you. Okay. You have to believe that I can take my imagination and create. And until you get to that belief, you're going to struggle. You're going to go backwards and forth. And that's why a lot of people would more so use willpower than they would their imagination, because willpower sees the problem and like, look, let's go to work. So the number one thing that you have to do, you got to believe this. Number two, you got to have a desire. A desire is that earnest feeling of want. Okay. In other words, I want to make this happen. Now, listen very closely to this, because I'll say this again a little bit later on. I'm not talking about you wanting something and you're living in a feeling of absence. Okay. I'm saying that you want it, you believe that it is there. And so that is the thing about it. A perfect example of that. If I believe that there's chicken at the grocery store, I will go to the grocery store to get my chicken. All right. And this leads to the third part of the formula for success: expectancy. Listen, expectancy means this right here. I'm on the lookout for it. I'm expecting that. I always use the diagram or the example of a pregnant woman. When a woman is pregnant with a child, she starts to do things to prepare for that child because she's on the lookout for that child to be born. And we understand that within 9 months of a woman becoming impregnated, that she is going to have a child. And we say that whole time she is expecting. She's on the lookout for it. And she knows that at the right time, this is going to happen. So you got to have the belief, you got to have the desire, and you've got to expect it. Now, all three of these things that I've just given you, they're all states of mind. So it's not hard to get there. You know, people say, well, seeing is believing. If you have to always see it to believe it, then I'll share something with you. Then you're going to be at a disadvantage. And this is another example I use. You have a brain. You believe you have a brain and you expect your brain to work, and you've never, ever seen your brain. You've never held your brain in your hand, but you believe you have a brain and you desire for your brain to work for you, and you expect your brain to work for you, but you've never seen your brain. So you can believe some things that you haven't seen. But as I'm saying, if you'll get the image on your mind, then you'll begin to see it. So, with all of that explanation, that's the first part of that, the explanation of it all, of why I'm saying use your imagination and not your willpower. Now I want to talk about the power of your imagination over willpower. So here's the first thing. Imagination takes you to the end results. Willpower takes you to the battle for the end results. In other words, willpower has to have a fight, has to have something to overcome. I'm going to give you some examples. Imagination seizes the goal. Willpower seizes the enemy to your goal. All right, let's walk through this. Okay, I'm going to use money as an example. You need money. Willpower takes you to the need. Now listen closely. If you continue to need, you will always need. Why? Because you cannot fulfill a need by focusing on the need. I'm going to say that again. That's powerful. Willpower takes you to the need. What do you mean? Because if I'm using my willpower, then I understand that I need this. Because remember what I said, willpower takes you to the enemy. The enemy is the lack. And so what I'm going to be doing is focusing on the lack. Well, watch this right here. If I focus on the lack, I will always lack. Why? Because I'm focused on the lack. The imagination, on the other hand, takes you to having what you need. When you get an image, you get the correct image of it being fulfilled, of you having the money that you need, you have it. And what you do, you have a picture on the canvas of your imagination or the canvas of your mind of everything being fulfilled, all your needs being met, everything is good to go. That is the image you get. If you focus and stay focused on that, it's going to show up in your life. Yep, I'll tell you, that's how it works. You got to get that. What a lot of people do, they get an image of, oh my God, this is going to happen if I don't get the money. This is going to happen if I don't get the money. Oh my goodness, this is going to happen. That's the image they have. And so when then they say, well, I got to use my willpower. I got to go out and earn some more income or whatever the case may be. And I agree, you have to earn more income, but you can't be focused on lack and get fulfillment. Because why? Because it's contrary to each other. It's contrasting each other. Now, you understand that there's a lack, but you also have to understand that I can use my imagination to see my lack fulfill. And when I see my lack fulfill, guess what I'm going to get? Fulfillment. Oh, yeah. So that's one. Let me give you another example. I'm not done. Let me give you another example. Let's say you want to drop your body weight. And I say drop, not lose, because I'm not trying to find it once I lose it. I'm just going to drop it. It's like dropping trash in a trash can. I'm not going back in that trash can looking for it. I'm going to drop it. And not only that, I want to be so disrespectful to losing weight, because you have a tendency, most things that we lose, we go back and try to find them. And we do find them. So we're not losing weight. We're dropping weight. Willpower takes you to the struggle with the food, the exercise, and all of that you're going through. That's what willpower needs an enemy to fight. That's what it needs. It needs an enemy. Whereas imagination takes you to your perfect body size. You see yourself perfect. You see yourself at the right weight. You see yourself that way. So that's the easier path than fighting the enemy of food and exercise and all of that. Imagination takes you to the easy path of seeing yourself the way that you want to see yourself in order that you can be where you want to be. So I said all of that, and I gave you all of these examples and everything to lay a great foundation of where we are going next week. But here's what I want you to do. I want to close it out with this right here. Imagination, listen to this closely. Imagination is you visualizing your goal so that you can see, feel, hear, taste, and touch it. You want to get your senses involved, and I'll teach you how to do that next week. That's what you want to do. You want to visualize it to such a level, and it does take work. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you it doesn't, but it's easy work. And when you start getting it to work in your life, you get so excited. You want to do it over and over and over again. I was just sharing with somebody how I have been using this system, and man, it's just working. And like, oh yeah, I'm excited now for more to come. So imagination, I'm going to close it out with this. Imagination is you visualizing your goal so that you can see it, feel it, hear it, taste it, and touch it. Do this, and you will get the very thing that you desire. So I'll teach you how to do that on next week. We'll go into a little bit more depth, but I hope this is enough to inspire you. One, to come back next week so you can see it. And two, to understand, use your imagination, not your willpower. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. Hope this has helped you. I will see you on next week, and we're gonna bring some more great and dynamic stuff your way. But remember this right here. Remember this. You are the architect of your very own life, and I believe in you. I'll see you next week. Bye.